But after another injury in midweek, they're pretty short of options in defence.
No Van Dijk, no Matip, and now no Fabinho. And West Ham are facing injury problems too. So let's hear from both managers.
We've really been shown a great team ethic, I've got to say. So I have to say that we've been getting goals from all different areas. We've been playing very well as a team. But I'm sure Liverpool will say the same about that as well. I'm sure they'll be looking at their team. But yeah, of course we'll miss him, because since coming back from lockdown, I think Mickey's been as potent as probably any striker there is in the league. Whatever you say, for whatever we've got, I always expect to go and win the games. I put my team out looking to win, looking to get results, and I'm not saying it. I'd rather take 3 points against Manchester City or 3 points against Tottenham, but in the end, I was really pleased with the point we took from both games. I think it shows we're going in the right direction. We're making progress. So I've been pleased with the players generally. I think the players have done a good job, but I'm not going to say that every week, because there's another game coming up now and we have to do it again.
It was successful, which is really good. The best news you could get is that this time is always unpleasant. Everybody who had a surgery knows that. You don't wake up and everything is fine, so you feel still the surgery. So, and that's it. But he's good. He's good, as good as you can be, and that's it. Getting injured is really the worst part of the professional sports life, but it's part of it. The only thing we all wanted to talk about in the first place was the kind of scenario. That was what made it kind of special. That's it. But apart from that, injuries are part of the game, and we are unfortunately used to it, and so we're working just. There are two things. So one is we of course we care about Virgil and think about him, and he cares about us and thinks about us. That's one thing, and we will never forget that. And all these kind of things, we'll take care for everything he needs. But on the other side, the focus is now, of course, on the available players, and so with that we are fine.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since Virgil van Dijk's injury, and here we are still talking about it, because that is just how important he is to Liverpool, John. But good news that he's had the operation and it's all been a success, and now we wish him a speedy recovery. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the final comment that Jurgen Klopp made, which is a real Liverpool thing. Because I've been saying to people from the start, when I first went to Liverpool, if you got injured, the staff didn't speak to you. They did not speak to you. You know why? Because you can't help them. Yeah. They love you, and they want you to do well, and they want you to get fit, but can you help me on a Saturday? No. So if you're the biggest superstar, Rush, Dalglish, Barnes, and you're injured, we're not interested in you. Now, people may think that's a harsh way to be, but the reality is that you can't help us. So why are we... And the more you focus on him, the more it detracts from the team. The best thing that's happening now for Liverpool is that there are no fans in the stadium, because everything is so negative because of Virgil van Dijk being injured. The fans would have been, we can't play without Virgil. And when something happens on the field and we're not defending well, even if we don't concede, the negativity would have gone on. It's like before Virgil came, when we didn't have him and Alisson, every time there was a corner, everybody got nervous because we weren't good defensively. So that negativity does go. So, as he said, we love him, we want to stay, but forget about it.
John's right. When I broke my leg at Blackburn, I was just made captain. I was a massive part of the team. Broke my leg, out for the season, out for 9 months. And the sympathy straight away. But then on a Monday morning, listen, the first team are over there, you're doing your rehab, and listen, they do care about you, but you cannot affect the first team. So,
that must be really difficult, though, as a player, because you're so used to all that team bonding and being in a dressing room together, and then that just goes.
Some managers say think it's bad luck having an injured player around, don't they? They just don't like the air of an injured player. There's negative vibes, and they just...
So Van Dijk now would just be a...
No, but look, I suppose maybe that can't work now. I'm talking about in my day, because we knew that's what it was, because we saw that's what's happening. So it's not as if it was like all of a sudden, can't believe you're not talking to me. You saw what happened, and you know that's going to happen, and that's what... And you would come out, because you're injured, and you come out to walk around the pitch, just to walk around the place, and you talk to them, and they'll be going, go away. Go away.
Harsh.
You can't do that to players now, because, of course, with the egos that they have, you have to still keep them involved, but Jurgen is right.
They've done that when I was fit.
Not fair. Well, look, it looked as though Liverpool had a solution for the short term, with Fabinho playing at centre-half in the immediate aftermath of Virgil van Dijk's injury, but now he's injured as well.
He's not going to be injured for that long. And of course, once again, forget Virgil. there's no point even focusing on it because we can't do anything till January.
So who's he going to put in there, John?
Well, he's going to put Williams in there or whoever goes in there. But the point I'm making is that if we can't solve it till January, why keep going on about it? We have to go with what we have. And what we have are good players, as he said when we played against Everton, and we played the kids against Everton. Now, we're not saying put them in for 3, 4, 5 months, but he has faith in anyone coming in from the reserves or wherever for 1 or 2 games and being able to still do a job, and that's what we have to focus on.
What's the best solution, do you think, Mark?
I think he might go for James Milner. I just think a bit of experience there. Just put him at the heart of defence, because Joe Gomez is still a young player. I think he needs a bit of guidance. I think he benefits from a more experienced centre-half.
I would think size-wise, maybe Henderson more. I don't think he'll do it because I think he'll put him in, but Milner maybe in a full-back position and maybe put in one of the full-backs in that position.
It depends with Antonio missing for West Ham, it depends what they do, because David Moyes, without his best attacking play, might go more defensive and invite Liverpool on. So it all depends which way West Ham go. And I think David Moyes has never won at Anfield in all his time as a manager at Everton, United and all that.
Don't say that.
But he might go negative and try and get a draw, and that will invite Liverpool on. So defensively, Liverpool might not need too much to worry about tomorrow.
Are Liverpool still the team to beat, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think Liverpool and City still are.
And City as well?
Yeah, I think those 2 teams for me still are the 2 teams to beat.
Is there any concern about this Liverpool side without Virgil van Dijk in the team, without Fabinho at the back? Or is there still so much kind of focus on that front 3, and are they that good that you still think, well, even if there are problems in defence, they'll still outscore most teams?
Yeah, I think they will outscore most teams, but I do think that long-term there's a vulnerability there without Van Dijk, aerially, just in terms of organisation as well. Because prior to him arriving, as Joe was saying, they couldn't defend corners or set pieces. Now they've got a better goalkeeper than they had then, so that might make a difference. But I do think that without him being there, it will make them, easy to beat, easy to get at. So, yeah, I think Liverpool have been drawn back towards the pack a bit, but I think the front 3 are always going to be dangerous.
I think I asked this question on the show last week. The philosophy. So we've seen this season, John, that they press high, they try and win the ball in the final third, and because they know they've got Van Dijk behind them, one-on-one situations, the fullbacks can be, they can get up the pitch, they can create opportunities. If they've got, a different centre-half now, will the fullbacks be reluctant to maybe think, you know what, one might go instead of both because of the pacing behind?
Yes, absolutely right. But also, I think that what's been made quite apparent towards the end of last season, this season, is when we're playing this high line and we have given away lots of opportunities to score. Yes, Aston Villa scored 7, but in other games we've given teams opportunities. It's not so much the high line, they've always played a high line. I don't think we're pressing from the front as well as we did. Because playing a high line is not an issue. But pressing the ball, if you press the ball with a high line, it's not a problem. But if you don't press the ball, then people can play easy balls through for people to run onto. And that's what's been happening, and people have been blaming the high line. It's not the high line, it's the fact that I think we are not pressing as much from the front or in midfield as we did in the past. Now, with Virgil not being there, it'll be important for us to probably either improve on that or maybe not push forward as much and ask our midfield players not to press as much.
I mean, when I saw him at Chelsea when Thiago came on at half-time, it was just like flickering a light switch. They changed the way they played it instantly. So from being this team that pressed high up with the front 3, Thiago came in and everything went through and they were control. It was almost like watching Man City. The ball was moving around midfield. They were looking for holes in the opposition defence. So they do have another way of playing now when Thiago's fit.
Because Thiago's not going to press like the other 3 anyway, but then he's better in possession. So at least that gives us that option.
So they've gone from being a high-pressing team to being, like I say, a possession team. So at least Klopp has, luckily, found a way to play that can compensate for Van Dijk missing, maybe.
The only thing that you can't replace Van Dijk in terms of his leadership and in terms of the mentality that other teams will have when they then go to play against Liverpool without a Van Dijk in the team, the mentality, do you think it changes from teams when they know, oh, well, Virgil's not in the team, we can get at them a bit more?
Well, what I've always said is that even when you played at Anfield or Old Trafford, or these as you have no control over the inspiration that the home team will get from their fans, but you have control over whether you're going to let that affect you. So yes, maybe opposition will think Virgil's not there, but that shouldn't detract from Liverpool players saying, we're Liverpool, we're good enough, I'm at the top team, I can play as well. So it shouldn't detract from what Liverpool do. It could make other teams feel better about themselves, but it shouldn't detract from what Liverpool do, and what Liverpool can do without Virgil should be still good enough to beat West Ham.
Sticking with injuries, Mikel Antonio, he's been so important to West Ham this season, and unfortunately David Moyes has ruled him out for this game. Also injured, that is going to be a real loss, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, he's their best attacking outlet. It's a huge loss for West Ham, and it will probably change the way they play and approach the game. And knowing David Moyes over the years, I do think it might make West Ham more defensive, and if they do go more defensive at Liverpool, they'll get beat. Because if you invite Liverpool on, they'll beat you. Simple as that.
And well, of course, the centre-back issues that we are having, him being the informed centre-forward, I mean, Haller is very good in the area. He's a good player. Maybe he will relish coming in against a depleted back four because of the type of player he is. So, but they will definitely miss that young man there.
What do you make of West Ham, Mark? Since David Moyes, kept them up, and now this season, where are West Ham?
He's brought a bit of sense to West Ham and a bit of stability, which they never have. And David Moyes has got his detractors that he can be defensive and negative at times, but I think he's a manager that will have a plan and he'll be diligent about it. And I think he's got rid of some of the nonsense that surrounds West Ham, and always going to have the big name players because we're West Ham, we have to sign a big name player. I think he's just stripped that back a bit and just got back to basics and just picked his best team. And he, like I said, taking the nonsense out of it. West Ham, for me, have to play a certain way according to the fans. And too many managers fall into the trap of trying to play that certain way, but they can't play that way with the players they've got because other teams will have better players to play that way they want to play. So I think Moyes is more pragmatic, and I think he's the best man for that job if he's allowed to manage as he wants to manage.
He's absolutely right. He's stripped that mystique away from West Ham, but just for now. Because, of course, they're doing OK. As soon as they start to lose a few games, that's when the crowd's going to get onto them. Very much like Villa. I said Villa, West Ham, Newcastle, because, of course, you're too young to remember, but you want to remember West Ham winning the World Cup in 1966, do you? Which the West Ham fans will tell you. So after we won the World Cup, West Ham, in 1966, with Bobby Moore and those people, we have to play a particular way. And if we don't play that way, then all of a sudden everything's going to be negative. So when Sam Allardyce was there, who did a decent job, but when all of a sudden we're happy, we love you, but then all of a sudden you go through a bit of a sticky patch, it's a bit like, Ollie, this is not what we should be doing. And they did it with David Moyes. And we always say about West Ham, when are they going to get to the point when they're going to say, we're happy with what we've got? All of a sudden it's like, let's now move on a bit further.
Are they almost the perfect example then of a team who are benefiting from not having fans in the stadium?
Absolutely. I mentioned Villa, I mentioned West Ham, because those fans, when West Ham are playing, there's no way under the sun in any stadium, West Ham would have come back from 3-0 down against Tottenham if they were fans there. I don't care whether it's a Tottenham or even the away fans. They would not have come back with fans in that stadium.
I mean, it's a tough crowd at the best of times with West Ham because of the way they want to play, but added into the fact that they don't like the stadium they're in, they don't like the owners. There's always an air of kind of protest at West Ham and antagonism and noise, which isn't there at the minute, and it's really helping David Moyes' team, I think.
After losing their first two matches of the season, West Ham, they're now unbeaten in their last four against Manchester City, Tottenham, Leicester and Wolves. So, can they get something at Anfield? What's the prediction, John?
I think they can get something, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Because, of course, in these uncertain times, as you say, predictions go out the window, as when we hear Robbie's results, you'll know. But I think that Liverpool, without Antonio, and means that, and as he says, maybe they'll defend deep and defend in numbers and not really create a threat going forward, but Liverpool will have too much going forward for them.
Yeah, I think Antonio's injury just kills it for West Ham. I just think that the best he can hope for is a point now, because they could have played with 10 men behind the ball and just had Antonio as an outlet, and he's gone that. So.
All right, Robbie's prediction coming later for that.